Peace and love to all you beautiful beings. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dorian, also known as Dr. Dream. And I know in relation to my previous videos, it has been a long time since I posted any kind of content. However, I've been busy doing a lot of different things, traveling, teaching, doing some trainings and everything like that. But I'm back, and in today's video, I want to talk about Mugwort. So a lot of you all know that I do a lot of different work and I hold a lot of different titles, such as I'm a yoga and meditation teacher, I do some hypnosis, and as well as I am a dream coach, which I help people tap into their psyche via their dreams. As I've been helping people tap into their psyche via their dreams, I wanted to offer some kind of help when it comes to either beginners or people who have been having like a bit of a struggle or more of a challenge getting into their dream space, or maybe experiencing some kind of dream experience. So I wanted to try to kind of create a way to help them and to motivate them to continue on this path of dream exploration. Typically when I guide my clients into a dream experience, or even myself, it's usually done through mindfulness or dream journaling and some other techniques as well. However, I noticed that for some of my clients, they were having a little bit of a tough time tapping into their dream experiences. So I started to do some research, and I came across dream herbs. So once I discovered dream herbs, I thought to myself that this might be a great way to help my clients have a dream experience. However, I had no experience myself personally with any kind of these dream herbs. So I decided that for me to best be able to help my clients, I have to know and experience the things that I may want to offer them. So I started again doing some more research on the dream herbs and certain herbs in particular. One herb that continuously popped up and seemed to be very popular was mugwort, right? So mugwort, in my research, said it helped with lucid dreaming as well as having more vivid dreams. And so I thought to myself, you know, hey, this is perfect, so why don't I go ahead and try mugwort. So in my research of mugwort, I found out that it can be used in many different ways. One popular way to use mugwort is in a tea, which I personally prefer. Other people have smoked mugwort. It can be used at burned, as like if you were burning sage or incense. Also, I read research that suggested that just by placing a bag of mugwort underneath your pillow or next to your bed can also give you some kind of dream experience. So I thought that it'd be fitting of me to try each method to see which one works, which one doesn't, and what that experience might be like. So the first way I use mugwort is I used it in a tea. And the first 2 times that I drank mugwort as a tea, I didn't really have any kind of wow experiences. Besides that, I felt as though I got really good rest. And maybe that was in itself an experience, although subtle. But I can't say that I experienced anything the first 2 times after drinking mugwort. So the third time that I tried mugwort as a tea, I had a absolutely beautiful dream experience. The first thing I noticed is as I began to fall asleep, I just felt very, very relaxed, and I was kind of more aware of my thoughts in a way which I normally am not. And it seemed as though like my thoughts were just longer lasting and more solid. And it's really, really hard to explain. As well as I had this awareness of like myself falling asleep. So as I began to drift into sleep, I noticed that I was thinking to myself like, oh wow, I feel very relaxed, and I'm just laying here, and I'm becoming more calm, and just that experience alone was just kind of very, very beautiful. Like I felt as though I was just kind of listening to the sounds around me, and just they just seem to be a part of my experience. Once I got to become asleep, I realized that I was in this state where I was kind of awake but still asleep. But it wasn't necessarily, I wouldn't say it wasn't a lucid dream, and it wasn't astral projection. It was something different. It was like another portion of the dream experiences out of the experiences that you can have. So before I get into this next part, I do want to mention that I have been doing some research in plants and the healing powers of plants and plant spirits and everything like that. And so I read that when you consume certain plants, you take on that spirit, and the spirit grants you different kind of abilities based on your intent for that plant spirit. So cut back into my dream experience with Mugwort. So once I was in that space of awake and asleep, I really noticed that I had this subtle power, right, where if I wanted to and with effort, I could create this experience. Like, it's like this Mugwort had given me this power to be able to experience this experience that I was having that's really difficult to put into words. But it was like I had the power, and if I wanted to use it, I could. And so when I was using it with a little bit of my willpower, I noticed that my dreams and my visions were a lot more vivid. Everything kind of flowed. I felt as though I was really experiencing this dream space as if it was a whole new different kind of reality. I felt as though my thoughts and my visions and the sensations were just as real as the physical world. And so, I mean, it was just an amazing experience. And again, I felt as though I had the power to where, as if I wanted to continue to experience this, I could. But if I wanted to back off of this experience, I had that option too. So if I wanted to back off, everything would just kind of die down and just kind of fizzle out. And I thought that was extremely amazing. And so when I remembered that in my reading about plant spirits, that sometimes plants grant you their abilities or their powers, that's exactly what I felt was happening there, is that I had this power of this plant, the spirit of this plant, and I was using it at my will, and then I was choosing whether or not I wanted to experience more. So the third time that I used this Mugwort, I definitely had an amazing experience, one in which I wouldn't say is necessarily lucid, a lucid dream or astral projection, but it was its own unique experience in itself. What I felt as though I gained from that is I felt I gained experience and knowledge from like this spiritual realm, or a realm that some people might call the spirit realm, or the dream experience, that was a little bit different from what I had experienced before. So since then, I have been using Mugwort as a tea, and it is one of my favorite ways to consume and take on the spirit of Mugwort. However, since then, my other experiences haven't been as powerful as the first time I had an experience. They have been a lot more subtle, but still very valuable in my dreaming experience overall. So the next way I decided to try Mugwort is I decided to smoke it, right? So I kind of just rolled it as if, you know, you might roll a joint or whatever, and I smoked it. And I mean, it wasn't as pleasant as drinking it as a tea, but I decided to just go ahead and try it. So again, the experience was very subtle. I noticed that I was more relaxed. I noticed that I was more calm. And I did notice that my dreams kind of just had this very flowing type feeling to it, where they just kind of flow one into the other. I am a big dreamer, so I have a lot of dreams per night, but the way that my dreams came on when I smoked mugwort, it was like they just kind of flow right into the next, whereas before, in my regular dreaming consciousness, my dreams would kind of start, they might roll over into another dream, but then they'll stop and then another one will come. But this time it seemed like they just, with mugwort, it seemed as though they just kind of rolled into one another. So I woke up, and around like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5, and I decided to go back to sleep. And for those of you who are in the dream culture, you know that early mornings is what we call prime time. And prime time basically is where you tend to have a lot of dreams, and your dream recall tends to be stronger around this period. So you can remember a lot more of your dreams that happened in this period, as well as they're just much more frequent. And that's why we call it prime time. So I fell asleep and I was in prime time and everything like that. And then once I woke up again, this time it was around like maybe 7, I did my usual dream recall, where I was just recalling my dreams. And for me, I always say that a lot of the times what you feel in a dream is much more important than what's actually the actual content of the dream. Also, just kind of staying in the feeling of what you felt can help you remember dreams. And so I was recalling my dreams, but I felt as though I had a special feeling, and I was like, I'm not remembering something. So I just was like, okay, let me stay with this feeling. And I realized that I actually went lucid during my prime time. In the dream, I was on the phone with a friend, and we were talking on the phone, and I was looking up at the sky, and the sky was just kind of creating these like very bizarre and weird shapes, and all of a sudden, like, the sky was showing all of these clocks around me, and I was just like, and I was telling my friend on the phone, like, I think I'm dreaming right now. I think I'm having a lucid dream. And then I lost lucidity. But for that moment, because I questioned my reality, I will definitely say that I became lucid. So I did actually have a lucid dream while smoking mugwort. So I haven't yet used mugwort in the other 2 methods, which is just kind of burning it like a sage or sticking it next to my pillow, which I'll try in the future. However, I can say definitely my favorite method to consume it is in a tea. It's just a lot more easier to use and consume in that way for me, and I just really enjoy the experiences of using it as a tea, although me personally, I have not gone lucid when consuming mugwort in a tea. So I'm going to continue to experiment with mugwort, and in addition to some other dream herbs, which I will use, document, understand, so that perhaps one day I can use it and maybe refer it to some of my clients for their dream experiences. If you have any questions or comments, or perhaps you want to share your experience with either dreaming, or maybe you've used mugwort, feel free to comment in the comment section below, or message me via Instagram. Don't forget to like, share this video for more content. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, peace and love.